What I do know, though, is from a momentum standpoint, what this game does for the program, like that cannot be quantified. And Will kind of gets in it. We have to talk about what tonight does for recruiting, not only the vision, but the atmosphere. 100%. Like that all applies. It's for the fan base, for the program, the guys on the locker room and having belief and seeing it play out. And then for future recruits, like most importantly for the team. I mean, like the fan base is a big thing as well. But last year, Jeff Lebby talked so much about, they had all those games where they fought hard. And it's like, well, we're not here to fight hard. We're here to win football games. And I need these guys to see a win and have something like see the process work in their favor. And it didn't happen for them the way that you would have liked to have seen it. And you look at that and it's like, well, going forward, are people able to continue buying into that? Is that something that are the players able to continue buying in? If you had lost this game in this moment, playing the way you did, like how do guys respond from that? And you could say, well, our guys are going to respond, but it's easy to say that, but like how, like the response is an actual thing that does matter. And like, do you have that ability to, had this gone poorly, say, you know what, guys, we got to flush it. We just got to move on and look at our next opportunity. That's a tough thing to do. Now the team has this thing to rally behind. They have got this. It's not just a good win. That is a huge win. I don't know if Arizona State's going to win the Big 12. I mean, I'm not sitting here telling you that team's still going to be amazing. I do think they're really talented. I think clearly like they had some problems in this game, but I think the atmosphere had a lot to do with that. Arizona State, I still think when it's all said and done, is going to be a pretty good team. I do think that win will age well. I'm not saying it's going to be a top 15 win when it's all said and done, or a win over a conference champ when it's all said and done. I think we'll look up though and it's like, that was a good win for Mississippi State, both in terms of how you felt, but also, last year beating Mississippi State was a good win for Arizona State, but it ended up being entirely because of how they felt afterwards because State was dog crap a year ago. I think Arizona State's still going to be a good team by the end of the year, and you will look up and it's like, man, that was an awesome win, both for how we feel about the program, but also tangibly, like we beat a good team. You have that to build off of moving forward, which is big, and I think the team can rally behind that. It is a confidence-building thing for the team that they see we can go and play with not just play with really good teams, we can find a way to win. They can also see we can win under the craziest circumstances. We had a 17-0 lead at home, choked it away, played like crap the entire second half, and still found a way to get the win. I do not know where the uprights are. I hope they are in Chadwick Lake. That would be awesome if they are. They can look at that and say, we still found a way to get it done. When the defense had to make a stop at the goal line to hold Arizona State to a field goal there, they got the stop when they needed to. When Blake Shapen had to step up and make a big-time throw, he made a big-time throw, and you score a touchdown with 30 seconds to go to take a lead and win the football game. We can deliver in those moments. We can beat a good football team. This is huge just for the locker room to have it. Then you talk about for the fan base and buying in. Man, it was going to be hard to get fans to come back into the stadium like they showed out tonight if you had lost this game. That was going to be rough. The student section was the best student section we have seen in a very, very long time. When people first started talking about the student sections packed out, and look, I wasn't in attendance. I wish I was, and I'd found a way to get up there. And then people were talking about the student sections like, okay, is it a good student crowd or is it like the students are actually sitting behind the band? Because that's the sign of a good student crowd, like a real good student crowd in Starkville. If the student section, like students are actually like, I'm willing to sit behind tubas, and I say that as a tuba player, our bell got in the way. Typically didn't have people sitting behind me at Mississippi State football games while I was in college, outside of just a couple big games. If the students are willing to sit behind the band, it's a big deal. The students were sitting behind the band in this game. So you had this great crowd, and like the home side was mostly packed out. Good crowd on the east side as well. It was just an incredible environment and atmosphere in Starkville at Davis Wade Stadium. And man, that's tough for people to come back from if you had lost that game. But now you look at it and it's like, okay, get the next couple wins. Like you got Alcorn State coming up, handle business there. Then you get Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois hung tough with Maryland more than I thought they would. And so we know we can't look past NIU after last year, but you should win that football game. Then you're talking about your 4-0 with Tennessee coming to town. That's going to be a sellout in Starkville. There will be a sellout in Starkville when Tennessee comes. I'm still pumped, Jay. We all are. 100%, man. I'm glad to have you here in the chat. Yeah, we are going to be such a building block for us moving forward in the season. 100%. And, like, having the fan buy-in is such a big thing. And, like, I mean, my God, we're taking so much from this one win, but I think about, like, using it as a rallying point for the fan base for fundraising and for NIL. Like, and we've seen Mississippi State obviously stepped up big time in terms of being able to get a competitive roster on campus. Clearly, you're seeing it play out. But can you build more off of this game? And, like, guys, look what this can be. When we are packing out the stadium like you did, when we are getting good players on this roster like we did this offseason, look what we can achieve. Like, this is something you can point to. Like, I think about the article that came out from Chris Lowe, now with On3, and he talks about how Mississippi State in 2014, like that should have, in 2014 and 2015, like that should have been something the athletic department at that time pointed to and said, hey guys, like that was a lot of fun. Do y'all want to keep doing that? Here's what we have to do moving forward. And instead they just treated it like a blip in the radar. I am not comparing this one game to 2014-15. Not even close, obviously. What I am saying, though, is I trust this athletic department because Zach Stillman has proven it. They're going to take this and build off it. And I think that's going to be a good thing moving forward for the rest of the season. I think you're going to get some great crowds in Starkville the rest of the way. And that's going to be a ton of fun. The overflow section was full. Yeah, which is fantastic. Like, getting crowds like that, getting those atmospheres is huge. Like, that is, if you want to beat Tennessee, you're going to have an atmosphere like this or better. You know, same goes for the Egg Bowl later in the year. I'm not there yet to start talking about beating Georgia or Texas. So we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But for those other big games on the schedule that are big opportunities, you want to have a crowd like this in place. So having this win helps you there moving forward. James asking how are we going to rate the actual play on the field today. I'll get to that in a little bit because we are going to talk about that. And then I know Will mentioned it earlier in terms of the impact for recruiting. Yes. This is a huge recruiting weekend in Starkville. You had a ton of people come watch this team. And not only did they get to see a crazy, fun, thrilling victory, they got to see a wild student section going insane, a crazy loud stadium, and they got to be a part of a field storming. I don't know if the recruits are actually storming the field or not, but they got to see it and witness it. That's going to help. And if you're Jeff Lebby, you're telling those guys, look what you can come be a part of. Because, like, this is just getting started. This is, like, the first building block. Foundation got laid in the offseason. I don't even want to say last year. Last year was wiping the slate clean. Last year they wiped the slate clean. This offseason they laid the foundation. Today was building block number one of what this program can be moving forward. And you get to point to recruits and say, you guys can be those next building blocks. You guys can continue helping this thing move forward. This is such a massive win for Mississippi State. And I don't think that should just be I know everybody knew it coming in. We talked about it a lot. And I know here on this channel, I did point out that, like, it's not going to be the end of the world if Mississippi State loses this game. And now the way it played out might have been a little bit different. But just in general, I was like, if Mississippi State plays a competitive game and loses, like, the fan base should not freak out and act like, you know, all is over that. You have to continue taking that as a sign of improvement and build off of it. And you can't put everything on this game in terms of what it means for the future of the program from a negative standpoint, as in, like, if we mess up, if we don't get this opportunity, we're done. You know, that can't be the mentality you have. But I fully agree the mentality should be, if we do these things, look what happens. If we get this win, look what happens for the program going forward. And it happened. And that is just so big and so important. And, man, it was fun to see.